First part of it will be Rules Committee information, and addressing the ADMs that affect rules. And then if we have time, we can take situation questions or anything else that you want to bring up. We will also have a presentation by Frank Guadalupe on the results of a meeting that was held between the FIDE Rules Commission and the USCF Federation, or representatives from the USCF Federation, which included what, Frank, you and Carol?
Actually, Carol was for FIDE,
Okay.
as was Stuart Rubin,
Okay.
and for the U.S. was Tony Reach. Is he here, Tony? No, Tony and myself.
Okay.
Walter was there as an observer, recorder, but everybody was the same.
Okay.
And Bill Goishberg.
Okay. So there was some negotiation regarding FIDE rules versus USCF rules at that, and Frank will give a presentation on that. So the agenda is basically going through what are the ADMs and information that's telling you there are 3 ADMs that were proposed by the Rules Committee that did not make it into the agenda section of the ADMs, but are in the delegates call under the Rules Committee report. The intent was that they were supposed to be ADMs, the intent they were supposed to be included with the ADMs, but apparently I didn't make that perfectly clear to whoever put together the delegates call. Okay, even though they're labeled as ADMs. So we will cover those items. I will give you the committee's response to each of these as we go through them, and with some additional comments. First one is ADM 1222, found on page 21 of the delegates call. It's Mike Atkins basically stating that we, has come up a few times before, of rating blitz as a separate system. As far as rating blitz is concerned as a separate system, is not a rules issue, it is a ratings issue. It does not require the 2/3 vote as a rules issue. However, defining what blitz is a rules issue. Okay. And Mike and I have had a conversation with regards to where that determination between quick and blitz should be. I don't really care, but there should be a definite determination. That's all I need. That's all I need is from that. So there would be Rules Committee voted the opinion as to whether or not to rate blitz, and to go along with Mike's suggestion as far as the blitz time controls are concerned is 1, 2, 3, 4 yeses, one abstention because that abstention wants to hear what's going to cost us in order to do this, and 1 no. Okay. Is there any questions, or the cutoff in the rule as stated now, and the proposal as stated now, is that blitz goes from 5 to 10 using the MM plus SS formula, minutes for your base time control plus seconds in the increment or delay is less than or equal to 10.
And I left out of there when I say 5052, obviously 51.
Yeah. Yeah, those were examples that you gave, not necessarily all examples. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I would like to hear from the sponsor what's the philosophical rationale behind it, because as it is right now, we have a click system that is not widely popular, and so to make another one is the idea eventually to get rid of the click, because blitz might be more popular than the pick, or if we leave all 3 of them, is there any other down the road, some kind of ultimate solution where, because it seems like it's somewhat at least as far as quick system is concerned, the way it's now, separating blitz permit would make quick even less, valid.
Well, part of it was 3 years ago, we brought this up and it narrowly got defeated. And my idea then and now was that to rate quick and blitz together was like averaging apples and oranges. They're two different systems, they have two different sets of rules. So it makes more sense to have blitz under its own system, since it has a different rule set.
And it's my personal opinion too that quick is just a different, blitz is a different game, okay, and therefore should be separated. As stated in the ADM, one of the rationale for it is that FIDE is now reading blitz, and they have a separate rapid play, they call it, which is equivalent to our quick system. So they now have adopted 3 systems as well. Actually, no, they don't. Are they rating 960? I don't know.
No, they don't. They don't rate 960.
Okay. All right. But in any event, that's the discussion that's going on so far. You might want to wiggle a little bit on the split between quick but the intent is not to get rid of quick. Yes.
I have 2 questions. First of all, we currently have dual rated events that are both quick and regular.
Correct.
And at least I believe the ratings committee would say that's very deliberate in order to keep the 2 systems relatively close together.
A little better in sync. Yes.
Yes. Is it the idea that this proposed blitz rating would be totally separate and there would be no
It would be totally separate,
no rating whatsoever?
Totally separate. No overlap whatsoever.
Has the ratings committee had anything to say about the complete lack of overlap and the difficulty with keeping things in sync?
As far as I know, it's not been presented to the ratings committee for comment.
Okay.
I know when Walter Brown used to have the WBCI, what I observed as an organizer and director for him for years is that it was an accurate rating system. It didn't have the discrepancy that the quick seems to have now. It'd be nice to know exactly what that system was and how he managed to do that, but it seemed to be far better than our quick system now, and there were lots of WBCA tournaments back then.
The quick system has stabilized somewhat since the overlap was created. So
Having lots of tournaments helps to stabilize everything. I think part of our problem with the quick is that some people just don't play enough quick and their ratings don't get updated often enough. I had a second question. It's been mentioned in this discussion and in the ADM that FIDE is doing this and so we need to do it. And are you trying to compete with FIDE? I mean, I don't understand the point of view.
That was part of the idea as well, yes. If FIDE has a rating system for that, then I think the USCF should be in a position where it can compete with that and have its own rating system for that too.
what is it in competition with or in cooperation with?
So I think
Is the intent that if an organizer holds a blitz tournament, you can have it FIDE rated?
Yeah.
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 I think they're complementary, not competitive. I think it's complementary.
Okay.
Although I didn't put in here that blitz would go as high as FIDE went in terms of time control, because
Right.
I think there's a huge difference between 3-2 and 5-0 in 14 minutes.
Well, and their rapid play is also from 15 to an hour to 60 minutes rather than up to 30 minutes or 29 minutes. So, FIDE likes slower chess. Any other? Well, can you add your hand up? No. Okay. Yes.
Well, yeah, now this is mainly covering of the rules that are in the rule book that we have, right?
Yes.
Now,
It's not, okay, it's in the rule book and the supplement to the rule book.
Yeah, but the rule book is currently out.
Mhm.
But I mean, but unfortunately, they seem to have a bad habit of making rule changes right and left, and even though a rule might be out a couple of months and that, everybody does a rule changes made. Well, the book that's out right now is practically obsolete and out of date because there've been so many rule changes made since it came out.
Well, we're working on a revision of the rule book.
makes it very hard for us organizer TDs to keep
But-
up with it.
But the updated rules are available online.
Well, I know, I printed them off here, maybe it was a month or so ago.
Yeah, and it's, and you're absolutely right, it's some 40 pages when you print it off, okay? So, there are significant rules changes since the publication of the last rule book, that is correct. They are available online, and tournament directors should be aware of how to find them. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, the committee, I gave you the committee vote already. What's the vote of the bodies who are here? Hang on, let me think. There's one. Okay, and all in favor of rating blitz as a separate system? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Just the meeting?
9.
You just said everybody was
Oh,
here. Yeah.
one more.
Workshop.
Okay.
10.
At 10, okay. And, opposed? 2, 3. And in favor of the split between, because this will be amendment to the change of raising the quick chess to 11 minutes as a minimum total. And blitz going to 10. I mean, we could go 9 and 10, could go 10 and 11, we could even do 12 and 13. And then and Mike Atkins is grimacing at that one. Okay, the proposal is 10 and 11. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Tim just raised his hand too.
Yeah, I raised my hand a little late. Mine was elsewhere.
Opposed?
There is left of it.
1, 2. Okay. That's the 2. Okay, next one. Effective January 1st, 2013, replace 14G with the following. In essence, what he's doing in this entire motion is replacing either a flag down or flag fallen, the term being obsolete with electronic clocks, to exceeds time control.
May I make one correction?
Okay?
Replacing the expression "both flags down,"
Okay.
specifically for 14G.
Just
Both flags
specifically
down.
for 14G. It is clear in another rule that throughout the rule book, expiration of time and flag fall are synonymous. There are multiple rules throughout the rule book that use the terms flag fall or flag down. This is correcting 14G in the instance where both flags are down. The committee, votes that I have received thus far is 3 to 3. Those in favor probably would like to change all instances in the rule book. Those opposed saying why. Okay. Is there any discussion with regards to this? Ken, you made the motion, so do you want to speak to it?
I will. The motivation for me to submit this ADM, there was an incident that ended up being discussed on the forums, although I heard about the incident before it appeared on the forums, where 2 players basically had, unknown to the TD, agreed to ignore flag fall on the digital clock, so one player's out of time. The other player had something like 5 minutes and 36 seconds or so left on the clock. But the clock was set to halt at 1, which meant that when one player was out of time, the clock stopped subtracting time for both players. And the players continued playing their game. This was a last round game. And the game went apparently almost an hour longer than you would have expected based on the time control. The game finally ended because the owners of the facility came in and said, we have to close on it. We're closing the facility and we're throwing you out. Meanwhile, there had been players standing around waiting for prizes. Apparently the outcome of this game would affect prize distribution. Why the TD didn't intervene is unclear.
And the rule book says he can.
Sure.
It is possible that the TD may not have intervened because it was not the case that both flags were down, in that, very technically speaking, you didn't see evidence that both players were out of time. My intent with this rule change is to acknowledge that digital clocks may be set
Yeah.
to stop subtracting time. But in this case, it is very clear
Okay.
that both players have exceeded the time limit and that 14G should apply.
Yeah. But of course, changing the wording to exceed time control wouldn't change that instance anyway, because one of the clocks still showed time on the clock. But I think what you're getting at is covered in the next proposal that you have.
Absolutely.
Yes. And we'll get to that shortly. But okay, that's your rationale for this. Okay. Is there any other discussion? Yes.
Ken was, the wording Ken was mentioning, the sitting time limit, that seems to me like the right wording. When you were reading, you said...
Yeah, there are about 50 or 60 instances in the rule book that mention a flag down versus...
right, but I'm just saying
time.
the word time limit versus time control. I don't think it's sitting time control is, to me, it's not, doesn't mean that time is, it might be that the moves have been made. I mean, sitting time limit seems like the better wording.
Oh, okay, he's got to, exceeds the time control as the wording in the motion.
Yeah, so I think I would like
Change it to time limit is probably appropriate.
And in fact, you've got another phrase, checkmate, and both players are out of time.
But not yet exceeded.
I think that may be in the rule book.
That might be the wording in the rule book.
I think it is.
Okay, but in any event, okay, the committee is split evenly on that 3-3. If there's no other discussion, we'll take a vote here. All in favor of Ken's motion to change the wording to specify time control, time limit, or out of time, whatever phrase is used to determine when a player is expired. Shot.
Expired, it's a different problem.
Okay. All in favor of the motion
Thankfully, a rare one.
of ADM 1223, raise your hands. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
All of us that voted yes, Ken gave us $10 outside.
I looked that
Now, wait a
over.
minute.
I was wondering about
Then Ken is now very poor because several of these motions are his. Or at least have his name on it.
No, the $10 was for all of the motions. If you didn't get that, I want the $10 back.
Too late, you already got your
You
vote.
said
it was for each of the motions. You're now trying to amend the wording.
Okay.
And your point?
ADM 1224, how to set clocks. Analog clocks, digital clock. Do you want me to read the whole thing, or? Basically, what it says is to allow clocks to run when one player runs out of time, to turn off all sound-making devices on the clocks. The players are responsible for setting the clocks correctly. Of course, what you do when they don't set them correctly is another issue. Okay. And okay, that's basically it, right? Oh, and yeah, the first part is already in the rules about analog clocks. Okay.
Is the part about sound in the rules?
Yeah.
Actually, right now, what's in the rules is that sound is an allowable signaling device.
Ooh, that's bad.
Yes, it is.
That's
what
been
we
there for
wanted.
two rule books.
That's what we wanted.
It's been there for
It's been
two
there for 20
editions of the
years.
rule book.
I know, and then I thought it was bad the first time I read it.
Well, you should have changed it then.
Yeah.
Then we wouldn't have to listen to Ken this time
I
around.
consider that the person who put it in thought it was good.
The only time you think, like, these sounds should be allowed is if, two blind players are playing, or one blind player is playing, then I think you need sound.
That's in the special rules for blind players.
Right, but that's,
Okay,
that's when you should have it.
Yeah.
Notice that in my ADM, I also modify Rule 35 specifically to say that the rule about sound does not apply in this case.
Okay.
Boy, if you're blind and deaf, you really got a
Okay, yeah, well, you say, you refer to C35, okay, yeah, 16B2A does not apply on a special clock for a handicapped individual. Okay.
Ken,
Blind.
in view of the fact that you want to eliminate all references to flags in some of your rules,
No, don't put words in my mouth. I didn't say that. I would like to do that, but that's way beyond the scope of what I'm trying to do.
yeah,
Well, he's saying
especially,
fix it here at the same time.
especially when you say players should explain the flag fall mechanism.
Yes, actually, I did, it was pointed out to me, Mike Hoffpower pointed out to me that there is some redundancy. I took that language, that's what appears directly in the book now, and there is some redundancy with 16B2C, which says players should be prepared to explain the clock operation to the opponent. And I believe that sentence should be deleted, the one about explaining the flag fall mechanism, the first.
Well, yeah, this says, this includes how the clock indicates a player has run out of time.
Yes.
In 16B2.
I take your point, and I believe that the sentence that refers to the flag fall mechanism should be deleted. And
Okay.
I would introduce an amendment on the floor to
Oh,
that.
yeah, okay. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, we can vote on it. By the way, the committee was six to 0 in favor.
Yeah, I would like to just specifically for the sound signal for flag fall, right? So this is also the.
Well, it's any
It's a separate-
sound, it's any
Right,
sound.
any sound, right? So I want to specifically address that. So again, it's just fundamental question, right? Is that, why would we disallow that when, I think we want players concentrating on the game and playing the best moves they can, and so not watching the clock, for whether the other guys or girls tank and flag is down, So the sound signal for the flag fall seems to be inappropriate now that we have digital clocks that have that technological solution that would, be helpful for players. I understand there is a bit of distraction for the boards, but I think the benefit might outweigh
Okay. One of the issues is the rule involving the both flags or expiration of time for both players. Okay, that rule specifically states that if both players run out of time, the game is a draw. Okay, that implies that both clocks should continue to run, and that it's up to the player to notice that the time has expired.
Because if you have a sound, they would never happen.
A sound, they're obviously going to make it happen. Now, FIDE goes the other direction. FIDE is just the opposite. They want the clock to freeze at time. Okay? In fact, it's in their handbook that it's a requirement. Because the arbiter calls the flag fall, not the players. Whereas in the USCF, especially with large Swisses,
Well,
the
that's not
players call
true.
the flag fall.
The arbiter may call the flag.
May call the flag,
Yeah.
yes.
Doesn't
Right,
have to.
well, so, it just seems like the situation, so that's how the UCF rules are, because we don't have, arbiters to watch every single games. That's why we have those rules where the players should police their own flags.
But the
Now,
sound is
this
all.
makes it easier for the players to police their own flags. It doesn't replace additional burden on the other.
You're approaching time control, and there's 30 people in the room and 15 boards, and you've got 15 different beeps going off at the same time.
Well, I don't think so.
Another argument is that the beep is
Totally
annoying.
routine.
15 time
Absolutely, absolutely. absolutely. Come to the National Open sometime.
And a beep is annoying to somebody who's concentrating on their game to the next board, and they don't know if it's his clock is beeping or the neighbor's clock that's beeping.
I
Okay.
think I've even seen some settings where sometimes, you know, like they beep once, but sometimes they'll beep continuously.
Yeah,
And that
that's
can't
really annoying.
be.
That's just as annoying as a cell phone. going off.
That's where you need a hammer.
Well, that's maybe
Anyway,
Figuratively,
that's your
of
opinion,
course.
okay, good.
No.
And,
The Suntec clock.
so it's an argument in favor, opposed to the motion, okay. Any other discussion? Okay, let's vote on that one. Okay, all in favor of the motion of, on how to set clocks, eliminating beeping.
ADM 1224. Yeah.
ADM 1224.
There you go.
Of the player is responsible for setting the clock correctly, and then the player who's not out of time, the clock continues to run, which is in opposition to the FIDE rule where the clock should freeze. Okay. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Was your hand up, Walter?
I'm in favor anyway, I don't care.
All opposed? 1. Okay, 1225. Remove the time controls with the definition of quick chess, Rule 5C, effective January 1. Replace the text in Rule 5C with the following. Quick chess, the USCF maintains a separate rating system for quick chess games. All quick chess rules are identical to the regular USCF sudden death rule. It's herein, except that scorekeeping is not required, so all provisions relating to chess notation are irrelevant. Rationale, the definition has changed and may change again in the future. Current text of Rule 5C is obsolete. It's also redundant. Committee is split evenly, 3-3. Ken, do you want to speak on this?
Yes. To quote the eminent tournament director, Steve Emmett, self-evident, but always mindful of the need to proceed with caution and prudence.
That sounds like Steve. Okay.
It's almost like he's with us.
Any discussion? I think the only problem with the way the rule is written in the rule book is that it's redundant. And I don't have a problem with redundancy as long as they agree with each other.
I don't have
Okay.
a problem with redundancy either.
Good one, Dan, good one. I would even say redundancy is a good thing. It helps you find the rule you're looking for sometimes.
Sometimes.
Good point.
Okay. All right. Any discussion? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All opposed? 1, 2. Fewer opposed than that were on the committee.
Is the entire committee here?
No, there's
Okay.
no.
And I didn't vote this time.
And two members of the committee didn't vote. Okay. By the way, they would cancel each other out. All right. ADM 1226. Ken, that's another motion on blitz chess. Ken Ballou has agreed to withdraw it if 1222 passes. Is that correct?
Or at least the part that's related to Blitz, yes.
Yes. Okay.
At least part.
And it's defining what quick is as far as time control is concerned versus blitz versus regular. Okay. And time controls an event. Okay. Well, part of the rationale, I believe, was the distinction among the three event types. Is clarified because reasonable limits would be imposed on delay and increment times. Each event type would have its own look and feel, ridiculous combinations such as game 6 increment 90 would be disallowed. Okay, part of the motion is also to raise the base time control for regular to 25 minutes, which would eliminate game 6 increment 90, but I don't see what's wrong with game 6 increment 90 personally. What's wrong with the minute, with the minute and a half a move?